Rambam. We are in the 10th book of purity, and we're learning Shar Avos Hatuma, the other forms of impurity. Right. We dealt with a corpse, a human corpse, and that brings impurity. Now we're going to other kinds, like a carcass of an animal and the like. Let's go. We're in chapter 3. Carcass of a kosher fowl that was not ritually slaughtered imparts impurity according to scriptural law, according to the oral tradition, it was taught. Any soul that will partake of a carcass of a fowl or one that is treif, whether a native or a convert, shall launder his clothes and bathe in water. Is speaking only about one who partakes of a carcass of a fowl from kosher species that is forbidden because it was a carcass or treif. Carcass meaning it wasn't slaughtered properly, or treif means that it was slaughtered properly but found to be not kosher because it wasn't healthy and would have died within the year, right? And there's all those details that we've learned. Okay. So how is its impurity defined? So again, it's speaking about a fowl over here, right, in the verse. So it does not impart impurity when touched or when carried, when it is in one's mouth, only in one's gullet. This implies a verse, any soul that will partake. It imparts impurity only when it has been ingested in the chamber of the soul, right? In other words, when you ate it, then you become impure based on biblical law. That's clear? He uses the term partake to define the minimum measure that imparts impurity is the measure to which a prohibition against eating applies, an olive-sized portion. So partake doesn't mean like let's partake in a meal, right? So if you just ate a crumb, that's not called a meal, or not called partaking in food. It has to be a minimum. What's that? The olive size that we generally have, right? Which is which is like a slice of bread, slice of bread, okay? So, moreover, it is written, so then it imparts impurity when you have that olive size, right, of the animal. That's a kosher bird was either slaughtered improperly or found to be treif, and you now ate from it, and you ate an olive size, again, a slice of bread, let's say the amount. So what is implied? So when swallows an olive-sized portion of the carcass of a fowl from kosher species, again, it's from a kosher species, and touched kalim when swallowing it. Now you touched this metal goblet, right? This metal, right? Pretend this metal. God forbid, someone ate, right? Something, it's not kosher, and you now touch something. This goblet would become impure, right? They become impure and are considered a primary derivative of impurity. So once was an ultimate the carcass of hell. Right, while swallowing. So while you're swallowing it, you're touching this. This becomes now a derivative of impurity, right? It has, if he was touching a person at the time that he was eating it, or earthenware container as while swallowing it, he does not impart impurity to them. as we have stated with regard to other primary categories of impurity. So that's while he's eating it. Now, after he ingested the meat of the fowl, he does not impart impurity to other vessels, to other kalim. He is like a kli that is a primary derivative of impurity that has been separated from the substance that imparted impurity to him. For even though he must immerse himself and wait for nightfall to regain ritual impurity, he does not impart impurity to other vessels. So you only impart impurity while you're eating it, right? You're eating a meal, and you have your fork, your knife, and everything that you touched while you were eating something that wasn't kosher, they become impure. After you swallowed it and you're no longer, you are still impure. You still need to go to the mikvah, right? Remember, we have to separate over here. There's a difference over here. This is not about eating non-kosher. This is about the laws of impurity. I mean, they're connected. Obviously, they're connected, right? That the impurity means I'm in a state of impurity. The fact that I ate something non-kosher is a separate concept to what we're talking about over here, right? But the fact that it was impure made me impure, means I have to go to the mikvah. Not only I have to go to the mikvah, but this, if I touch this at the same time that I'm eating it, it too needs to go to the mikvah. Got it? Now, if it's only touched afterwards, this doesn't need to go to the mikvah, but the person does. By the way, when you're learning Chumash in Parashat Shmini, for example, when we learn these laws, it doesn't say that the animal about the animal being kosher or not kosher. What does it say? Pure and impure. Because it's got a double nuance. It's not only that it's not kosher, but it makes you impure. That you need to go to the mikvah. So, and not only makes you impure, but it's possible you can make something else impure. And so it's a double.
So it's like kosher and beyond. So in other words,
right.
Kosher, but
today, yeah. Since today these laws are not applicable, right? Because we don't have the Holy Temple. We don't have the Holy Temple. We're all impure. We're all impure because of coming in contact with a corpse. Because if you ever walked in a hospital, someone died there, so you're impure, right? If you went into a cemetery, you're impure, right? So we're all, and we can't purify ourselves because we don't have the red heifer, right? So we're all impure, just to make sure we got clarity on that point, right? Hey, that fits in with the Tanya we just learned, right? The Shekhinah is in Golus. So we're impure. Okay, number 2. It is not necessary for one to have the intent to consider the carcass of the fowl from a kosher species or as food to impart the severe type of impurity. Instead, whenever one swallows an olive-sized portion of such a carcass, it imparts impurity when in the person's gullet. Now, you don't even need to be aware of this. It's a fact. Just like, you don't have to be aware of poison that it's going to, kill you. So the same thing, this, spiritually is defiling you. You don't need your awareness of it. The fact that, because usually there needs to be some kind of awareness, right? But since there is a pleasure that you have over here because you swallowed, right? That's sufficient. Right, that awareness itself. If one thought to partake of it, it imparts impurity. It imparts impurity. The impurity of foods is considered primary derivative of impurity, even though he did not touch another source of impurity, nor must it be made fit to contract impurity. I'm not sure I got that. Not sure, huh?
There's a note here where it
Yeah.
says impure foods can impart impurity to other foods.
Right.
Well, however, a carcass of a fowl is not considered as a food. It does not impart impurity.
The foods. Right. Right. We said that before. It was only two implements. Right. Yeah.
But impure foods can impart impurity to other foods. But a carcass of a fowl is
Not,
considered
because it's not food.
So it cannot impart impurity.
Mm. And that's when you didn't have, but if you thought to partake of it, then it's considered a derivative impurity of foods. It imparts impurity of foods. And it's considered a primary derivative of impurity, even though it did not touch another source of impurity. Yeah. The above does not apply to the red heifer and the goats that are burned, even though they impart impurity to those involved in offering them. If one considers partaking of them, it's necessary for them to come in contact with a source of impurity. Only then do they contract impurity associated with food. Right. Okay. Okay. I have a meeting that I have to go to, so I have to stop here.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.